All right, so we are live again. Hopefully with no lag. I think we're good this time, but I don't want to jinx it. So currently, let's see. I'm going to take this away if I can. The only problem with this is I can't. Okay, comments. So we have no viewers currently. Hopefully the Justin fellow will be back. He was cool. But for anyone who isn't caught up and who hasn't already seen the previous disaster of the stream that we tried, it was super laggy. So I moved my setup outside, which probably what I should have done in the first place. Chris had the right idea. It's a little hot though, man. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how it is your way, but in this sun, it's a little hot here.
Well, I got trees around me. I'm shaded pretty good.
Well, lucky you, man. Lucky you. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm sitting here, dude, and I got black on too.
By the way.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I see that. There we go. Yeah. So, all right. So we're gonna beat around. We're not gonna. I can't even talk now. I'm having a heat stroke out here. We're not gonna go through the bullshit again with the slashers and everything like that. So we're basically gonna stay away from main franchises such as Friday the 13th, Halloween, A Nightmare on Elm Street, so on and so forth. If it has more than 3 sequels, we really didn't include it other than a few, which we'll talk about when we get there. So, all right, you already told your number 10, although I don't know if it was heard. I don't know if it's heard very well. Yeah, go ahead. Just go with your number 10, and we'll do it that way.
Well, before I do it, I'll just do another explanation. I limited myself to what I had in my collection. There's tons of great slasher films that I don't own, and there's a few that I remember liking a lot, but I didn't include it on the list because it's been such a long time. I didn't want to throw it on there and watch it, a day or two later and be like, I don't like that as much. So this right here is my list. It starts off a little weak, but here we go. Number 10 is going to be Jurassic Park. It's going to be Final Exam from the year 1981. And I was doing a little bit of research. I'm not going to bore anybody with that, but it is so crazy how this film right here, I wrote it down. I think it had a $363,000 budget and made $1.3 million. So it's crazy. Back in the 80s, man, you can just throw together something as simple as this right here. It's very bland. That's one thing about it. I didn't like it at first. I watched it when I was in a very bad mood. I rewatched it with you. You remember how bad I did not like it.
Yeah.
Rewatched it with you, man. And I enjoy it. It's not a top tier slasher, but one I feel is a little underrated. I looked it up before Scream Factory was going to put it out, and I couldn't find nothing about it. It was so obscure. So hopefully, even though it's not the best slasher, hopefully it gets some, some exposure. I like in this one, they really don't tell you why the killer is killing. It's not to the level of Halloween, but it kind of reminds me of that, where you don't get too much of, information on Michael. I kind of like that. I kind of like to fill in the blanks in my head, like, well, maybe he was related to this person, or he had some kind of, beef with that person. The killer in this is actually pretty decent. A little lacking, but again, I like that. I like the characters of Courtney and Radish. I think they're pretty memorable. They're not, not top 10 final girl for Courtney or anything, but I thought she did pretty good. And, Radish was kind of cool, kind of that nerdy little character, and I kind of wanted to see him survive. One scene that stands out to me, and I love when movies do this, it's a little cheesy, but there's a scene where a character's shooting a bow at the killer and he catches it. Me and you died laughing for like 1 minute.
Yeah, dude.
That was the funniest shit
I remember
ever. So if it can make me laugh like that, it has good kills, it doesn't have to be something amazing. So number 10, going to start off a little weak with Final Exam. Check it out if you like slasher movies.
Yeah, it's Final Exam was in my top 20, but I had to axe it, man. There were some other ones that I just couldn't put below it. So yeah, man, good pick overall. I mean, honestly, Final Exam is very underrated, and yeah, Justin, I definitely check it out, man, if you haven't. I don't know if the Scream Factory one is still available. It may be out of print by now, but I'm not sure. I know for a long time when I was a collector back in the day, I'd heard about Final Exam, but nobody could find it anywhere. It wasn't on Blu-ray. I don't even know if it was on DVD. If it was an out of print DVD or a bootleg. It was one of the two, but it was literally just unfindable at one point. And when I finally watched it, I remember liking it more than you did, but we was going through some issues with some YouTubers who we won't mention, but that was a long time ago. We were kids, basically. But I liked it more than you did. So I'm going to go with my number 10, which is Bad Ronald. No, I'm just kidding. That's an inside joke there about
Holy
Bad
shit,
Ronald.
Bad Ronald!
Dude, that's another one, dude. That's another one that I liked a lot where you're like, do you really like this movie? I was like, yeah, man, I fucking like. I'm not seeing it since then, but I'm like, dude, I fucking love this movie. You're like love this? I was like, man, I think it's better than like Psycho at the time. You're like, fucking better than Psycho, dude. I remember I battled that and Psycho, and I don't know. I think Bad Ronald won, dude. It was on Late Night Fridays. I'm pretty sure I got like shit on, dude. I think people were telling me to kill myself and stuff. It was bad, dude. It's really bad. But I'm just gonna go straight into my number 10, which is a 2009 film, which I've always really liked this one up until December when I had COVID and I was kind of locked down for 2 weeks. I started rewatching this series, and there's only 2 in the series. But it's a 2009 film, I think it is the only 2000s movie in this list, and it is hold the camera here, the Collector from 2009. It's a Marcus Dunstan film. I don't know, man. I just love the acting. I love the premise. It was supposed to be a Saw sequel, I believe. It was supposed to at least be in the world of Saw, which is weird because I prefer this way over Saw, and it's Saw in a nutshell, but it doesn't have the convoluted twists and ending. Like, it's just good. It's basically about this dude who is not necessarily a good guy, but not a bad guy. He's working, I believe, like construction for this house, like repairs, like a carpenter, I guess you would say. Mm-hmm. And there's like bug repairs, and people are there, and they're trying to fix this house up. And he's been casing the place out because the family who are in there are rich, and he has to steal a jewel within the house. And one thing leads to another. We get locked in this house with this fucking crazy dude, the Collector. I like the lead character of Arkin. I would like to see him in more things. He was in The Dark Knight Rises. But yeah, man, I have a lot of love for this. I think the Collector, as a slasher, is one of the freakiest killers of the 2000s for sure. The sequel is good, man, but it just didn't hold a candle to this one. And yeah, I mean, I'm supposed to get a third movie, but I think they'd axe that out. I don't think we're getting another sequel, unfortunately. So, The Collector, if you haven't seen this one, it's a fun watch. It's brutal as fuck. The traps in it are actually sensical. Like a lot of the Saw traps, especially in the later series, how did they put those together? You know what I mean? Like, these are booby traps, like handmade shit that you could actually see happening. So I'm going to cheat a little bit. I have to. Really don't have a choice. I do have a choice, but I'm choosing to cheat. So this is a movie from 1980. This is directed by Charles Kaufman. This is directed by Charles Kaufman, who also did some trauma films, Toxic Avenger. And I had to put this in here, man, and it is Mother's Day. Like 99% of the rest of the movies in my list are 80s films, minus this next one, I think. So I'm not going to harp on it too much. 80s was a freeness of horror. That's just kind of how it was. People did. They had so much room to. Ideas were floating around. They had original shit, not so original stuff. Some of them were trying to make bank off of ideas that had already been done previously. Halloween, Friday the 13th. But this one came out early on in 1980. And, you know, I don't know, man. It caught me off guard when I first watched it. It could have been the crazed mother angle, like literally raising her kids to fucking rape and kill people, basically. And just the scene, I remember the scene with the one that sticks out to me the most is when they have the camera outside and they're videotaping this girl on a park bench. When I watched that when I was a kid, I was just like, oh my God. Like, I'd never seen anything like that. And you have this mother cheering these kids on, literally filming them raping another woman, which was just made me feel dirty when I saw it, made me want to take a shower, but instantly it made me want to review it. And I did, and it had a lot of good acting in it as well. It's cheesy, it's fun, it's got decent kills. There's a montage in this movie that's funny as fuck. It's basically them training on how to kill their next victim and how to kill and to stay in shape. They're like fucking doing push-ups and shit and beating up like just I don't even know, man. There's like punching bags they're beating up. They're doing all kinds of wild shit. It's definitely one to watch if you haven't seen it, man, because apparently it's Eli Roth's favorite horror film. It's only the 13th movie he's ever said that about, but I mean, I'll take his word that this one's definitely up there because it's a fucking awesome slasher, dude. Definitely watch it. That's my number 10, dude. I cheated. I don't care. Number 10. Right there.
I got to say something about that movie. The house is absolutely disgusting, and the way that they eat is absolutely awful.
Oh my god, yeah, and they're like brushing their teeth and stuff, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. I guess number 9 for me. Again, I think this is an okay slasher, not a great one, but I do like it. It's from the year 1980. I'm pretty sure it's a Canadian slasher film, and that is going to be Prom Night. So, let's see. Had it wrote down here. It's just crazy. Okay, the budget 1.5 million, and the box office 14.8 million. Dude, you just put out slasher films in the 80s, man. That's how you make your money. This one right here, from what I remember, I think it starts off with like a group of kids playing hide and go seek in some kind of an abandoned place, and I think they start like chanting "kill" at this one little girl that's wanting to join them, and she accidentally falls to her death. And I think it cuts to it shows that somebody was watching, and then it cuts to obviously I think 6 years later when they're all in high school, senior prom. Then guess what? Killer comes, starts slashing people. To me, when I first watched it, I liked it, but I didn't love it. I still don't love it, but I think it's a pretty decent little slasher flick. And I like the decapitation scene. I like that quite a bit. I thought that was a really cool kill. This is a very good Blu-ray. So even though I'm not over the moon about this one, I do kind of like it. It has Leslie Nielsen in it as well. Obviously, Jamie Lee Curtis as well, if I can show that. So yeah, that's a good shot.
Yeah, I think I have the same Blu-ray. I'm pretty sure. I think I do. What release is that?
Synapse Films.
Yeah, I do. I have that one as well. That's a great number 9, dude. I love that movie. I won't harp on it too much. I will talk about it a little bit later, possibly. So yeah, moving right along, I guess, to my number 9, which is Ice Cream Man, which I forgot what year the movie was made. It was in the 90s. It doesn't say on the back. It says 2004 back here, but I think it says 2004. Yeah, but it was definitely in the 90s, so I can't remember the exact date, but it was directed by a guy named Paul Norman, who got his luscious start to directing bisexual horror films, I believe, or not bisexual horror films, bisexual pornographic films. There we go. So, and not just there, I think he actually did some horror porn as well. Like, I think I was doing research. I'm pretty sure he's directed like over 150 pornography. So, I mean, pretty good, man. But I mean, this movie, you could call this nostalgia. But dude, Clint Howard really puts his face to good use in this movie because he is fucking creepy as fuck, dude. And he is an on-ball looking cat. But man, when I was a kid, I remember watching this and absolutely loving it. I can't remember where I first saw it. It might have been on VHS. I do remember the VHS artwork, which was similar to this, but I think it was like a head and there was blood all over his hands and stuff like that. And I was just like freaked out. I mean, do yourself a favor. Look at that face, man.
That needs to be on the cover. He uses excuse in this movie.
Dude, Clint, I can only imagine Thanksgivings at the Howard's house. You got Ron Howard, he just did The Grinch, and then this dude's talking about Evil Speak. You know what I mean? Like, he just directed The Grinch. He was in the Andy Griffith Show. What did you do today, Clint? Well, I went back and watched Evil Speak and Ice Cream Man as a double feature just to see my performance. No, not cutting on Clint Howard. I love Clint Howard. I wish he could do more horror. I really do. Because he fucking nails it in this, dude. So yeah, dude, when I was a kid, ice cream truck going by, I was legitimately terrified, almost like some people say they were about the water when they saw Jaws, you know. Kind of, I just hated ice cream trucks. I don't think I ever ate ice cream off a truck. I ate it out of a store, or store-bought, or like a restaurant, but I would never eat ice cream off a truck. But I never would go up to it to do it. So this really has a nostalgia. Like I said, you could say it's nostalgia for me. You don't even have to really call it a full-blown slasher. I do, because people get killed. A few people get killed. It also has appearances by a lot of horror greats, one woman in particular you'll see in my list a little bit later. The kids, there's a little bit lackluster on the acting from the children, but other than that, man, I enjoy Ice Cream Man. I'm trying to see if I have any extra notes about the film. I mean, I think I've summed up everything that I said. Like, it's just it's fun. And if you like slashers, and if you haven't seen this one, which I think a lot of people have, you're going to get a good laugh, and you're probably going to shit your pants when you see Clint Howard's face. And there's an eyeball scene, dude, that... Yeah. So, Clint Howard in Ice Cream Man. This one did get a Vinegar Syndrome release. Unfortunately, I don't think it's expensive. I think the slipcover itself is super, super expensive, so I haven't bought it yet. And I'm a slipcover horror, so I like to have most of those. Yeah, dude, and there's some really weird flashback scenes. I want to mention this just because I'm looking at it on the back. Involving there's some weird fucking flashback scenes in this, and there's also like there's a time where he's force feeding the kid ice cream. That's pretty sick. I don't know, man. Just a lot. Like when I close my eyes and I see this, dude, I'm instantly awakened with fear. So, Ice Cream Man, there we go. That is my number 9. I'm not going to cheat anymore. There's only going to be one pick from here on out. So, that's my number 9, Ice Cream Man.
Okay. So for my number 8, it's going to be a Canadian slasher film from the year 1980, Terror Train. Pretty much what you said about the slipcover. You know, your slipcover horror. I am too, and this hurt bummed me out because I ordered this. I did not get the slipcover. This is one of the only Scream Factories I don't have a slip for. But yeah, another one starring Jamie Lee Curtis. This one's set on New Year's Eve, if I'm not mistaken. This one opens up with, I guess, kind of like this nerdy kid, and that's kind of a trend. Nerdy kid, and I think he's going to be getting it on with it's Jamie Lee Curtis, right? If I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to be getting it on with. Obviously, it's a big prank, and I think does it happen that night or does it skip a year? I can't remember.
The prank or the events?
The
prank happens at night, and the events skip like a year, I think.
The year
what happens after that, I think it is.
Because if it didn't do that, then it'd be really obvious. But pretty much, well, not so like that. It's a lot better. Pretty much. It cuts to I guess a year later, and they're on the little train. Very good atmosphere, and I like this the aspect of this film where the killer, as you can see here, try to wait for that car to go by. He wears different masks throughout the film. I like it a lot because they're all wearing costumes, so you don't know which one's the killer. The killer could be the person beside of you, somebody coming around the corner. Has a good atmosphere to it. I think it's a pretty decent slasher flick. Again, I'm starting my list off a little weak, but I feel like this one's kind of like a step up from Final Exam and Prom Night, in my opinion. Always enjoyed this one. This is one I like to watch, every New Year's Eve. So, number 8 is going to be Terror Train.
All right. Moving on into my number 8. 1979 film. So it actually was one of the earlier slashers before the big 80s craze. Tourist Trap, directed by David Schmoller, who also directed Puppet Master, as well as a movie called Crawl Space that Scream Factory put out years ago. That is literally one of the weirdest fucking movies I've ever seen in my life. It's starring Klaus Kinski, and it's just absolutely wild. He's had his hands, I believe, on most of the Puppet Master movies. He's definitely had his hands on a few. Directed the first one. I think he wrote the first one as well. Could be wrong. But if you watch the two, if you watch Tourist Trap and you watch Crawl Space, you can see some of the same stylistic choices that were made. I love this flick, man. I think it's one of the most original slasher flicks. It was released before the gory craze, like I said. It holds its place, and I wish I had it higher. I wish I liked it, loved it more than the next 7. Unfortunately, I don't. It had to be number 8 for me. I just love the atmosphere, man. It's clear from the start that something isn't quite right with Slauson. He's a grandfatherly type, I would say. What happens with you have an unhinged brother angle, it gets fuzzy because you see him as like this granddad figure, but also he's weird. He keeps sneaking off and going places. You don't really know what's going on with him, but you want to trust him. And I think he plays the unhinged character well, both when he's good and when he's bad. I don't know. It's just believing that the dude isn't capable in the things that he does. There's also a scene where a very inventive kill where someone is smothered to death, and the way that it's smothered to death, there's like this I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's like I think he's molding someone's face, and he molds the nose holes, the mouth, and they can't breathe where it's all over their face. And that scene fucking is wild as fuck, dude. And I don't know, man. He plays the part on both sides, like I said. There's some poor decision making, dude. I'll say that from some of the characters that run off and do their own sort of thing. But I don't know, man. When that happens in a slasher, when you get somebody that says, oh, let's not go for the front door, let's go up the stairs, we watch it and we say, well, we wouldn't do that. But it kind of makes it more interesting, kind of makes it more fun to be like, fuck yeah, go up the stairs instead of going out the front door, because the movie's going to be over and I want to watch you die, not because I'm a sadist, but I want to see these kills, to see these effects. And like I said earlier, half of the fucking kids in horror movies are douchebags, bro. You just want to see them get killed off. So it adds to the charm. It really does. And the opening in this one, there's an opening that kind of throws you for a loop. You don't really know where it's going to go, and you see traps, which is funny. I'm mentioning traps like the Collector and Saw. But you see these traps, man, and they're like magically happening. You don't know who's pulling the strings, how it's happening at all. And then in the third act, you get hit with this fucking telekinesis thing that it makes it one of the most unique slashers I've ever seen. It had to be my number 8. There's no way I couldn't have it in the list. It was above films like Final Exam that I just couldn't have in, and Madman. But yeah, and also the look of the killer is really interesting. He has a couple different faces and different. Trying to get this bug out of my face. Sorry, it's irritating me.
There's so many out here.
But he has a couple different faces, a couple different disguises, and yeah, it's a fun slasher. If you haven't seen Tourist Trap, definitely watch it. I think this is one I'm super shocked they have not touched yet for a remake, and if they ever do, they're gonna fuck it up. I'm just gonna say that. Tourist Trap, 1979. Watch it, love it. If you don't, you don't know good taste in horror films. It's almost no. I'm just kidding.
Let's say I watched that and I absolutely hated it. No, I'm kidding. I've not watched it.
All right, bit.
I've not watched it yet. All right, so for my number 7, right, it's going to be an American slasher film from the year 1989, I think, which is pretty good to, in the 80s with this film. That's going to be Intruder. Trying to figure out how to explain this one. This one's actually pretty unique in my opinion. It's about, without giving it away, it's about, I guess it's a night shift crew, overnight crew working at a local, supermarket, which I've never really seen too many horror films set in a supermarket, which is really cool. And pretty much this chick's ex-boyfriend comes along, who's very creepy, leather jacket, looks like a biker, very creepy, kind of starts stalking her, really, like whenever she's out there gathering carts. He's there, just standing, like, off to the, I won't say off to the side, but a few feet away, just like staring at her. And you're led to believe, which I won't say if it is or not, that this guy is the one that ends up committing all these acts. But pretty much, they get the police on him and everything. He's supposedly, got taken care of. You don't really know what happens to him. You see him come back in the film. Pretty much everybody just starts getting killed off left and right. And the cool thing about this is Scott Spiegel is the one that directed this, and I think he co-wrote Evil Dead 2. And you can really tell that, he's pals with Sam Raimi, because not only is Sam Raimi in this movie, you got Sam Raimi, Ted Raimi, and then at the end you get a cameo by Bruce Campbell. And the way that it's like directed, like the shots are very Sam Raimi-ish and very unique. So not only do you have a unique setting in, like a supermarket, you got really good camera work. And honestly, some of these kills in this movie are some of the best I've ever seen. There's one where it takes this poor lad, his head, I think it's like a meat cutter or something like that. It's just going, and it just goes.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. I remember that one.
One of the awesomest kills I've ever seen. And this was 1989 when the MPAA was like running rampant. Like Halloween 5 was 89, and I can't believe this right here got away with it. And I read that this only had a $130,000 budget. Like, that's insane. If that is true, that's very low budget. And honestly, some of the best effects that I've ever seen. Danny Hicks, who has now passed away, unfortunately, he does a great job in this movie. You don't really, or at least I haven't seen him in too many like lead roles. Obviously, Evil Dead 2, he was kind of like a supporting character, so I thought he did good. But this one, he kind of has more to do, and I think he's a damn good actor. I wish he would have got more films because he really knocks it out of the park on this film. So definitely check it out if you haven't. Number 7 is going to be Intruder.
Good pick, man. I wish that could have made my list. I've not seen that one in a long time. These bugs are eating me alive and just not having me today, dude. But I've not seen that one in a long time, so it didn't make my list, but I wish it could have. Now, going into my number 7, which is a 1980 flick. A lot of these have the same kind of thing, 1980, early 80s, directed by Kevin Costner. Now, I remember loving this movie before I even saw it. And what I mean by that is I had heard through the YouTube community, because I'd been a YouTuber at that time for, I don't know, maybe a year, and I was still collecting, trying to get anything I could order. I just wanted to watch any of it. And I'd heard about this movie. Like I said, multiple YouTubers, everybody talked about it. It was in a double feature with this and with Deranged, which I also love. I think it's probably one of the closest adaptations or true to form adaptations we could ever get or ever will get of Ed Gein. This one actually also stars Nina Axelrod, which is in Deranged as well, which I've not seen in a while, but I really want to see it again. So yeah, I was never disappointed in a lot of horror I watched unless it was genuinely bad, and this one wasn't. And in that double feature, it was Motel Hell. And I actually should have brought that out here instead of this because I have that double feature. It's like a midnight movies double feature thing. I don't know, man. I've always called this one a dual slasher. I love the characters of Ida and Vincent. I love I don't know, man. He's another guy who's like a lovable old man while you have this real brooding, big country style sister who's wanting to fucking, rough house with the girl that he saves, wanting to do all this different shit. You know something's off about him at first. You don't really know what until it proceeds and progresses. And one thing I love about this movie is the setting, the hotel itself, Motel Hello. When you have a movie set in a hotel and you see some of the things that they do with these characters in the hotel, it feels very, very intrusive in a way that you want to look away, but you can't look away. Like, because hotels, it's a private thing. You know what I mean? Like, supposed to be anyway. Or motel. I said hotel, but motel, to me, they're basically the same thing. But in a motel, it's an intrusive thing, an intrusive setting. And then you have aspects not only of serial killing, but it's the way that they kill these people. The hallucination scene, I guess you would say, where the people or their heads are spinning around and they're buried in the dirt. And, Farmer Vincent Fritter's there. It's fucking wild as shit, dude. They break their own necks, which is crazy. And then they turn into, it's cannibalism, dude. They're feeding them to people. Like, it's crazy. Some people would say it's not a slasher. All I'm going to say is pig mask chainsaw fight at the end. That's all I'm going to say. I love this movie. I always have. I think it's a staple. I think it definitely deserved to be talked about as much as it did back in the day because everybody talked about Motel Hell. Everybody knew about it. Everybody wanted it in that out-of-print double feature. And when Scream Factory announced, I believe it was either Scream first or it was Arrow. I can't remember. That did a Motel Hell release. I believe it was Motel Hell that actually did the first Scream or the first release, and Scream went and did it over. But then there's been steelbooks now. A lot of people recognizing this movie as I feel they should have back in the day. And yeah, man, I think I'm trying to see if I have any final things to say about it. But yeah, I've always considered it a slasher. Pighead chainsaw fight. That's it. I rest my case with that. That is my number 7, Motel Hell.
It's definitely a good one. I wish I would have seen that more recently so I could put it on the list more accurately. Okay, let's see here. So for my number 6, I think what we're on now, is going to be a William Lustig film. Probably not the one that you think. We're not.
No.
Yay. Stars, I know the other two, but I got to look up his name. Robert Zadar, Bruce Campbell, and Tom Atkins, and that is Maniac Cop. I really dig this film, man. I love the atmosphere. I think the score, especially at the beginning, is very good. And it kind of like how Motel Hell was, like how you said that it's kind of like a dual film. I feel like that's the same thing with this because it's half slasher film, half, like cop, thriller, detective type film. The plot of it, pretty much, guessing I can read the back here. It says when reports come in of a man dressed up in a police uniform committing all these murderous acts in the streets, Officer Jack Forrest, Bruce Campbell, stands accused. So pretty much they think it's Bruce Campbell. Now he has to pretty much clear his name and figure out who the hell this guy is, who the Maniac Cop guy is. And one thing I like about this franchise, because this right here does have 3 films, so I was kind of debating, but I'm like, 3, I think 3 is okay. If you got 4, 5, and 6, then, I feel like it's a little too much, but this is still not mainstream, in my opinion. But what I like about this franchise is that it doesn't care who you are, what actor you are. You can get killed in the first movie, the second movie, whatever. And not many horror icons can say that they've killed, some of the greatest, horror stars of, the 70s and 80s. But Maniac Cop, Matt Cordell, there we go. Let's try to think of his name. Has done that, and I like him, man. I think that he should have. I feel like he could have been something bigger than what the movies became. Because Maniac Cop just. I'm trying to think how to explain. He kind of reminds me of Jason in a way. He says that brooding presence. He's very intimidating. Like Robert Zadar is a huge guy. I think he might be the only actor to ever out-chin Bruce Campbell. Because he does have a heavy chin. So Maniac Cop is my number 6.
That's a good pick, man. It didn't make my list. I've not seen it in years, but I remember really enjoying it when I did. And I haven't seen the sequels any at all.
Me either.
So I need to check those out as well. I'm not going to see Maniac Cop 2, which I heard a lot of people actually prefer over the first one. But yeah, good pick nonetheless. My next pick, my number 6, is a film that you've already mentioned. And it is... no, actually it's not. It's directed by Roger Spottiswoode in 1980, and that is Terror Train. Another 80s horror flick. I debated on this in Prom Night. This was the 2 that I debated. Prom Night did not make the list. I'm going to get this out of the way. Prom Night, I love Prom Night to death, but when I think of the 2 Jamie Lee Curtis films, I prefer this one a little bit more, I think.
Me too.
I dig the plot. I like how it's a prank gone wrong that could happen to anybody at any time. It's a pretty nasty-ass prank, I'll give it that. But still, it's, prank gone wrong. And a kid basically being fucking traumatized and scarred from it. I love that. The New Year's Eve setting and being on a train, it could seem cheesy to a lot of people. And a lot of people I've watched has said it's very, very bad and it's very cheesy. I never got that, man. I love it being on a train. Like, I love that. I also love the fact that the killer switches up disguises. He changes masks, so on and so forth. That's very interesting. That really hadn't been done, if at all. It hadn't been done very much by 1980. I love the 80s vibe, man. This one carries, it gets more 80s than a lot of slashers. And you can't get more 80s than David fucking Copperfield, flipping coins on your train. You know what I mean? So we got that. I believe Jamie Lee in this one. I think that I like her character. She has a douchebag boyfriend, kind of. He's really not the douchiest out of the 2. There's another guy that really kind of perpetrated the prank and escalated it on, because her boyfriend's the lesser one. I think her boyfriend's the one that wears the I don't know if it's like it's not like an alligator. Is her boyfriend, dude, I can't even remember. I want to say her boyfriend is the one that wears this shit right here, but I don't know. He might not be. He might be somebody else. He wears a costume. I just can't remember. He has a mask on his face.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The one douchebag in the movie wears this. Well, it's over here.
Mm-hmm.
But he gets killed. But anyway, that aside, she I believe her in this one. There were douche characters, just like I mentioned. That one dude that you did want to get killed off, and when you see him get killed off, it's well worth it. I'll be honest about this one. That the twist ending, we kind of knew the twist was coming. But then they tried to further the twist, dude, and say that this guy was actually David Copperfield's fucking, like, assistant in drag or whatever, like his helper in drag, like he took the hair off and stuff. Like, I didn't buy that, dude. Like, did not buy that, but it's okay, man. It still has a satisfying ending nonetheless. And yeah, I don't know, man. Let's see if I have any extra notes on. I think I pretty much covered everything. I, I mean, other than the ending that they did a double twist on, which didn't actually work. I think this slasher, it's one of the greats to me. It surpassed Prom Night, which a lot of people will be scratching their head about. But when I think about slashers, I think about Terror Train. This is a really nice release as well. Scream Factory had one. I have that release too, but this is the Scorpion release of Terror Train. You have that original artwork there. If you haven't seen Terror Train, it's my number 6 with good reason. You might love it, you might hate it, but check it out.
To add one more thing to that, yeah, I really like the I guess the oscillation that you get with the train setting. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you figure out who the killer is, how you're going to get out. So I
Yep.
do like it better than Prom Night. So this is the only one on the list that I don't own, but my number 5 is going to be Batman. I remember listening to Dead Pit Radio talk about this movie back in the day, and I was like, Batman, I've not heard of that, and looked it up on YouTube. I watched it, and I really, really enjoyed it. Madman Mars is kind of to me like Matt Cordell. I don't know why he wasn't a bigger, icon in horror. I could have seen easily him get 2, 3 sequels because I like the design of Madman Mars, and I love that camp setting. The whole, campfire, telling a story about Madman Mars, and I like how they don't say the name out loud, Madman, and that one kid just doesn't believe any of it, and he takes that rock and he throws it, and I'm pretty sure that's when Madman goes ballistic. I like the backstory too, where he kills his family. I'm pretty sure kills his family, and then the townsfolk hang him, if I'm not mistaken, and then they hung him at night, and then when it came morning time, he's gone. He disappeared. Has Galen Ross in it from Dawn of the Dead. You got TP, that little belt buckle. Pretty good kills actually. I remember one. There's plenty of them. There's a hanging scene. There's one where he jumps on a trunk. Not a trunk. Excuse me. On the hood of a car when someone was trying to fix something, and just smashes their head. Very good effects.
Oh shit! And, yeah, I remember that.
I really enjoy it. I like the camp setting, like I mentioned. I like the theme. Just like everything about it. I think it's a really good slasher flick and definitely underrated. So check out Madman if you haven't. That is my number 5. I don't know why I don't know it.
Yeah, I wish I could have made my list. I really enjoyed it. The first, I think I watched it twice. The first 2 times I watched it, I really, really dug it, but did not make my list, unfortunately. But good pick, and the next one did. My number 5. I had the shirt on earlier today, but I changed it to this 1983 slasher, and it is Sleepaway Camp. Now this one does have 3 sequels. Technically, I think it has 3 sequels. I'm not going to count the 4th one. 2 was fun. 3 was okay. It was what it was. I want to get this out of the way. Yes, Angela does have a dick. Shocking. I know. It would have been super shocking had it not been ruined many years before I actually got to watch it. Nonetheless, it was still a good watch, man. What kind of bugs me a little bit when it comes to Sleepaway Camp is when people talk about this movie, they contribute its greatness or its shock, or the only reason the movie's talked about today is because of that ending. I don't think so, man. I think the movie is more than the ending. It took me a while to warm up to it. We watched it for the first time together, and we both looked at each other like, what the fuck? Like, we didn't know what we saw. But after multiple viewings, dude, I fell in love with this movie, and it's worked its way up to my top 5. I don't know. It's the first movie on my list, really, that focuses. I mean, there's a couple here, but this one focuses on kids to like the next level, where you're actually at a summer camp. There was a guy on a bike that just drove by. That was really loud. But this is the first one that focuses on kids at a summer camp to the extent that it did. And not only does it focus on it, but they have the balls to kill off little kids, man. Like really, really little kids for like no reason at all. I think they might have looked at her wrong or like hit her with a ball or something, dude. She slaughters like all of the children there, which is crazy. It's ballsy as fuck. And I mean, I love it. Felissa Rose kills it, dude. Little to no dialogue. She can look at you 1 minute and make you seem like she's shy, or that she's just going to stick a curling iron up in you. One of the two, man. Those looks, you don't really know. You got Jonathan Tierson as Ricky, man, like, which I will forever have eat a bowl of fuck. Not eat a bowl of fuck. That's from the Night of the
You
Demons.
shouldn't live.
That's a good one though. Eat shit and die. Or yeah, eat shit and live. That's what it is. Night of the Demons on the brain, dude. I'm looking at my notes here and trying to like keep eye contact with the camera, but also look down at my notes every once in a while because I don't want to sound like a dipshit. But yeah, Jonathan Tierson is Ricky. Eat shit and die. Eat shit and live. Which I think, man, when I watched him talk about it, he was like, I think he said the director came up and told him to do that. And he was like, what the fuck does that even mean? He's like, eat shit and live. It's eat shit and die. He's like, the director was like, well, wouldn't it be worse to eat shit and live with the taste of the shit in your mouth? And he was like, I guess so. So he said eat shit and live, and it kind of stuck. He's like, that was the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. He seems cool as fuck, dude. Mm-hmm. Watching interviews with him, he seems cool. I don't know, man. Like, the oddity of where, here it is. The oddity of where I come from, we call them baldies. When that happens, that's the fucking first. Like, dude, I think that's the. Dude, I think that's the first time. What are you saying?
I was saying he's such a pedophile.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think the first time that we watched it, that's the first time we looked at each other and we were like, my God. Like, and then, like, when you see him do that, dude, not only are you fearful for what's going to happen to these kids in terms of dying, but they could be fucking raped as well by a pedophile cook. I don't know, man. The kills are creative. The acting has its cheesy moments, but that is one of its advantages, I think. It's a fun hour and a half. It won't leave your memory regardless if you love it or hate it. And that's Sleepaway Camp. I don't think the ending is the only reason this still gets talked about. That's my number 5.
All right. So I guess I'm going to go on to number 4. Something completely different. It's kind of wild that, you have Sleepaway Camp. I'm going the completely opposite side of the spectrum. And I'm going to go with Sleepaway Camp.
Nice.
When we first watched this movie, I was waiting for this classic movie to wow me. I thought it was going to be like Friday the 13th. Even though I consider that one of the weaker of the big 3 original films, I thought it was going to be something like that, or Halloween or Nightmare on Elm Street, and it was not. And if you go into the film expecting that, you're not going to get that whatsoever. It took 2 or 3 watches, but man, I love this movie. It was such a fun movie. Try not to repeat, what you said, Jordan, but the kills are really good. That pedophile gets boiled alive pretty much, boiling hot water on him. The makeup effects on that, you can just see it bubble.
Fuck yeah, dude. The pain must be incredible.
Yeah, the pain must be incredible. The guy with the mustache, the cop, has a mustache. Later on in the film, comes back with black tape. Even his hair's a little different. I love that, dude. I love it. Sign me up.
Dude, the dude who runs the camp that beats the fuck out of Jonathan Tierson.
Yeah. And that's Mel, isn't it? I think that's his name. His death is sorry, spoilers. Gets an arrow through the neck. That's a really fucking good kill. And then the guy with the short shorts, gotta give him respect. The curling iron death. Man, I think they did a really good job at portraying, kids at camp. You got all the stereotypes. You got the, just the bitches picking on Angela. They finally get their, comeuppance. And I love this movie, man. The ending is not the only good thing about it, in my opinion. It took a little bit for me to realize, it's a cheesy 80s slasher flick. And if you like those, check out Sleepaway Camp, because it's definitely worth the watch. So that's my number 4.
It is. And I will say this before we progress further, since Sleepaway Camp is so close together in our list. If you watch it the first time and you don't like it, give it a while and go back and watch it.
I agree.
All right. So we're on number 4 already. Okay. My number 4, this is one that I wanted to place higher, but with the other 3, I couldn't place it higher. then we seem to have a viewer. Well, we have one viewer in here right now. I don't know if it's the same guy who commented earlier, but if not, welcome to the top 10 favorite slashers of all time. Feel free to leave a comment. We are on our 4th pick by now. So, man, I wanted it to be higher, and I just couldn't. I thought about it. It's a 1974 film, and it's directed by Bob Clark, who also directed A Christmas Story, and it is Black Christmas. I won't boast about it too much because I'm almost 110% sure it's on your list. This is a slasher before Halloween. It's more elegant than Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it manages to do something new with this holiday theme. And not only with the holiday theme, with the POV shots. The POV shots really paved the way, and you can see John Carpenter taking like blatant inspiration from this movie for some of the shots in Halloween. You just can. And I love Halloween. It's my favorite horror film of all time, but I got to give credit where credit's due, man. You get to see through the eyes of the killer. 99% of this movie is through the eyes of Billy. The kills are pretty fucking wild when you do get to see the kills. The fucking skin tingling phone calls, dude. You know, it's just like those are some of the weirdest fucking phone calls I've ever heard in my life. Like, seriously. This is another movie that had a remake, which sucked pretty big balls. And then it also had another remake that's a Blumhouse film that I've not seen, but I've heard it has nothing to do with Black Christmas. It's legitimately only the title that's used. It also had a fan film that was made not too long ago from Dave McRae. It's Me, Billy. That was a fun watch as well. I would say that was more of a sequel than anything else that we've ever seen, or anything like that. Let's see. Almost every character when it comes to the sorority girls are likable in this one. From a drunk to a girl who's contemplating abortion. Olivia Hussey, Margot Kidder, Andrea Martin. Can't fucking forget to mention the man, John Saxon, in here. It's awesome. You got, I don't know if, I can't remember. I know this was 74, so I'm almost certain this was before When a Stranger Calls. You have the first time that you ever see the calls are coming from in the house. And that fucking instant where it's like, holy shit, like the calls are actually coming from inside my house. I'm fucked. I need to get the fuck out of here. From start to finish, this movie captivates you. It holds you to the last chilling shot of Claire, who's still rocking back and forth up in the attic, and you don't know if Billy's still alive. That's all I'm going to say about this. This is not only my number 4 slasher of all time, it's in my top favorite horror films of all time, period. From start to finish, man, I love this movie. It's an every Christmas watch for me, and that is Black Christmas from 1974.
All right. So I guess I'm on to number 3 now. Crazy.
We're on number 3. Yeah, we've kind of breezed past this. It's only been 47 minutes, and good timing.
I feel like I'm going to get torched for this one, being a little bit low, but it is a 1981 slasher flick.
Oh, my God.
The Burning. Man, what can I say about this one? You got Cropsey. Film starts off with these young campers that pretty much try to pull a prank on them. Prank goes wrong. That's like a trend, a trope here. Cropsey, for whatever reason, doesn't get up. He just sits there, tries to pat the cover. He gets incredibly burned. Yeah. He's a weird looking guy, no offense to the gentleman.
He is, dude. Before he turns into fucking flesh. Like a Paula just brought meat. Yeah.
Very weirdly proportioned guy. Anyway,
he looks like potted meat spread across a saltine cracker, dude.
That's putting it lightly. He gets set on fire, and he's and then rolls down like a bank into the water. It cuts to like I don't know how many years later. Is it 5-6 years later, something like that? He's getting out of the hospital. They pretty much say, "Hey, get fucked. We can't do nothing else for you." He's back on the street.
Yeah.
Black hat, black trench coat. Kills a lady, if I'm not mistaken. Kills a hooker.
I think she's a prostitute.
Prostitute. And goes back goes back to camp. I'm trying to think of the camp's name. What is it? I don't know.
Camp Sage, I think.
Is it? Goes back to camp.
No.
Okay, I was gonna say that's ours. I was gonna say that's really good inspiration. I don't know the name. Anyway, he goes back and terrorizes the campers, kills them off. This one actually, like Sleepaway Camp, I will give credit to Sleepaway Camp and this right here. They are actually like teens. You know what I mean? They actually feel like kids.
Yeah.
There is some young kids there, and man, Tom Savini with the effects. God, I'm so glad. Like Friday the 13th Part 2 is a good film. But I'm glad he did this instead of that because, man, the kills with like the shears. Oh man, I can't believe this didn't get a sequel. Like amazing special effects. If you want gore, practical effects, this is a film that I highly recommend. And even the theme, you know, Doon 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 has a memorable theme to me. I can't believe that this right here isn't as more known as other films that I think are lesser films. I prefer this 110% over the original Friday the 13th, even though I like that film. I think this is a very good summer camp slasher flick. It's definitely worth checking out. So that is my number 3. Wish it could have been higher, but that's where I decided to put it for right now.
Good pick, man. Good pick. I won't talk about it too much. It might be on my list. It may not. We don't know for sure yet. I'm still deciding. But yeah, my number 3 is a 1981 slasher. These bugs, dude,
I know,
are fucking irritating, dude. I think there's like plants sitting over there and shit, so bugs flying all around the place. We have one viewer back again. Hopefully, whoever the viewer is, you guys are doing okay tonight. Number 3 pick, My Bloody Valentine from 1981. This is the one that I've watched most recently out of all of them. It's another holiday themed flick with a great love triangle, with which is the perfect occasion for that being Valentine's Day. The Mind Setting, man, was one that I'd never seen, and other than the remake which it received, I can't recall seeing. I mean, there's been shit like The Descent where they go cave diving and shit like that, but I'm actually talking about a legit mine where miners work. You had The Legend of Harry Warden as well, which is very interesting. I liked it. That he killed and everything that happened with him, and that Valentine's Day is kind of frowned upon in this town. It's a Canadian film. You can definitely fucking tell it's a Canadian film. I don't know. Like I said, The Legend of Harry Warden, it was creepy. When you think of legends like that, which I'll be talking about another legend here shortly, I don't know, man. It always puts me in mind of like sitting around a campfire and talking about like Cropsy or like Harry Warden or like Candyman when I was a kid. Go look in the mirror, say his name. You know, shit like that. It's kind of eerie, and it really brings back childhood memories because I remember a lot of urban legend stories. The son is not having this copy of. Okay, see if I can do that. Let's see. I don't know, man. I found myself resonating with the cast a lot. I'm just gonna do. All right, there we go. I found myself resonating with the cast a lot, not only because they're older, but because they are in a love triangle. This chick can't pick who she wants to be with. This guy left because he kind of had to. He didn't have a choice. And as I've gotten older, I've been through numerous fucking situations like that. And, you know, they're stuck in this town. They're mining. They're trying to work, make an honest living, but they also want to party a little bit and have a Valentine's Day party. Who the fuck cares? Like, let them have their Valentine's Day party. I don't know, man. It's like the kills in this are fucking legendary. You got the nail gun kill. You got the fucking boiling water kill, which may not be as cool as Sleepaway Camp because that dude literally had boils fucking popping up on his face as soon as they pulled him out, dude. But it's still cool. You got the pickaxe through the throat, dude, and that's fuck. I'm glad they cleared that up on this transfer. Some of those scenes that they weren't able to in previous releases. I don't know, man. You have the twist ending. I didn't necessarily know it was going to be Axel for sure the first time I watched it. When you go back and watch it, you're like, okay, that makes sense. But you have that twist ending, which I like. I think it was set up for a sequel, but did it need one? Maybe not. I think it kind of stands on its own. I think a sequel might have tarnished this one a little bit. I don't know, man. It's when I think about slashers, I think about 80s slashers. Harry Warden, you know, him and his mining mask and the gear and those loud gasps of air when you could hear him breathing, him and his pickaxe, it always pops to mind. And never be surprised on Valentine's Day if you open up a box of chocolates and you get a little bit more than what you're bargaining for. So, My Bloody Valentine, that is my number. What are we on? 3. That's my number 3. So, watch this movie.
My number 2 is
shit.
On number 2 is also going to be a 1981 Canadian slasher flick. It goes by the same title, My Bloody Valentine. Pretty much what Jordan said about this flick. You got the love triangle, and you got like the tragedy that happened with Harry Ward and the Five Miners, how he was a sole survivor, and pretty much he came back for like just vengeance, massacred everybody in the town. I think they quit celebrating Valentine's Day for the longest time.
Yeah, I think they did.
I think it's like 19 years later, 20 years later, whatever. They're finally having it, but guess what happens? They get sent a box that's shaped as a heart. Open it up. There's actually a legitimate heart in it. Warning: do not proceed with this Valentine's Day party. But they don't listen, and Harry Warden's back, or is he? Pretty much like Jordan said. The twist has Axel being the killer, which I'll never forget that ending. I love that ending where he literally just
cuts his own arm off. Yeah,
his own arm off, and you can hear him. Sarah, I think that's her name. Be my bloody Valentine, and does that little laugh, and then cuts to the credits. And plays that song. I think that's like perfect. I love that ending. I think honestly it doesn't really need a sequel. Would have been cool if it did get one, but the kills in it, like you mentioned, you talked about most of them, but the nail gun, the boiling water, the pickaxe right through the neck. I love the kills in this. I love the atmosphere. Valentine's Day, still to me the best Valentine's Day themed horror film. Not many of them out there really, but this one still to me remains king. And I grew up with this one. I watched it at a very young age, and Harry Warden to me should have been a bigger horror icon. And I love My Bloody Valentine. It's a great flick, great slasher. Highly recommend it. And the Scream Factory version is really cool. Very good trick.
Yeah, I love the artwork. I love the extra slip that it came with, the posters, the whole 9 yards. So we're down to number 2. Let me see if I can get this right, and the sun's not in the way anymore. Down to number 2. My number 2 is awfully battled with Madman. A lot of people talk about which one that they prefer, and a lot of people go both ways. They can go The Burning, they can go Madman, which this is a 1981 film, The Burning. I'll try to hold it. If I can get my big head to stay in one spot and then do like this. Okay. All right. So like I said, often battled with Madman. Like I said, Madman didn't make my list. It didn't. It's only because I've seen it a handful of times compared to seeing this multiple. I want to say off the bat, this is the perfect slasher in my opinion. It's tough for me. It is a number 1, but I just want to say that if the next one didn't exist, this would be my number 1. The Legend of Cropsey is creepy. It's creepy as fuck. He is kind of dumb and ditzy. He doesn't try to do any more than pat the fire out. So, I mean, it's kind of his fault. He fucked himself up. I don't know, man. Each and every single character in this flick, good and bad, and yeah, I'm talking about Glazer, they're still fun characters. There's not one that's just like, fuck that guy. Like, I hate that dick. Even Glazer's like, man, guy's kind of funny. He's kind of a dick, but he's kind of funny. When they fucking, like, moon him and shit, I think they keep hitting him with stuff. What are they hitting him with? They're hitting him with something.
I can't remember.
Across the water. They're hitting him with something. I think it's a slingshot, dude, but it might not be.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think so. It may be that.
So each and every one of them are semi-likable, even the bad ones. That's rare to say, but true. And, you had some of the best kills in terms of the body count. Practical effects by Tom Savini were fucking amazing. The rat scene with the garden shears, you've already talked about that. It's just, I mean, literally, dude, it's one right after the other. It's a slaughterhouse, dude. Kills everybody on that fucking rat, dude. It's got a lot of known names and recognizable faces. Jason Alexander from, like, Seinfeld fame. You got Brian Backer, who I've known him in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Fisher Stevens is in there. Holly Hunter is in there for a little while as well, which is crazy. I didn't even notice that till I was looking up information on the film, further information. I love this movie, man. From the score, the camp setting, fucking brutal kills, deformed Cropsey. I don't know. I showed this, which is funny. I showed this to my. I think I'm starting to lag a little bit.
Are you good now? I think. Maybe. I think it is lagging a little bit. Yeah,
Okay.
it's still lagging a little bit.
All right. Well, I showed. I don't really. Oh well. Probably doing something in there. That's why it's lagging. Don't know. Uh,
I can hear you.
What the deal is here? Come on, man. Why? I'll say this. From the score, like I said, everything, the camp setting, everything I loved. I showed this to uh, uh I showed this to my girlfriend in the past, and she hated the movie, and that kind of made me doubt our relationship for a little bit. But she did say the kills were cool and the effects were done well. Uh, I don't know. I love this movie. For now, it's at my number two. That could change at any time. It could always go to my number one, depending on my mood at any. I'm gonna let you. I don't know if you heard it.
Yeah, I did. I heard the last little bit.
All right. Basically, The Burning is my number two. I don't know if anyone heard it. If not, I'm sorry about that. But I'm gonna let you go ahead with your number one, and I'm gonna try to figure out if somebody's on something in there.
Okay.
Just give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
All right. So I remember what the camp name was for the burning that I forgot. I think it's Camp Blackfoot, I think. But for me, my number one is going to be the Canadian slasher film from the year 1974. That is going to be Black Christmas, directed by Bob Clark. Yeah, like Jordan said, Olivia Hussey, Margot Kidder, John Saxton. He's great to have in any film. So having him there, kind of you have like a veteran actor to kind of give you credibility within a slasher film. I love this film. I think it's dripping in atmosphere. I love the POV shots. I love the directing. I love the obscene phone calls. When I first watched it, it really, really got under my skin. And these are things that can legitimately happen. I'm not saying the rest of the slasher films can't happen, but this is an average guy who's unhinged. He's trying to make, he's trying to, cause these sorority girls all kinds of problems. He's a big nuisance, and turns out he's in the house, which is a very cool twist. And I love that you never get a full image of Billy, and I just love the ambiguity of the film. I love just everything about it, really, from top to bottom. It is more of a slow burn compared to some of the other ones, but I think that complements the style of the film. It's just one of my favorite horror films in general. Definitely my favorite Christmas themed horror film. And I have nothing but love and respect for this film. I think that, if you watch it like I did during Christmas, during December, it's the perfect setting. The film feels so cold. Um, and not just saying that as a pun, but it really does, like the atmosphere. And the kills, even though it's not overly gory, much to the credit, for like Halloween, I feel like that helps it. Builds the suspense, builds tension, the atmosphere. The kills don't have to go over the top if you have all of those things going for you, and I think this film does. Uh, ask me on another day, I could prefer The Burning or My Bloody Valentine over this film, but right now I'm feeling Black Christmas the most. I think my top three, though, are definitely great slasher flicks that everybody should check out. If you have seen them, if you haven't, if you're not really a big slasher fan, I think you'll still find enjoyment out of those three movies. So my number one, Black Christmas. I don't know if you can hear me, Jordan, but I really got to go use the bathroom. Drain the lizard. I'll be right back.
Okay, I'm back. I don't know. Let's see. I'm gonna try this one more time. All right, man. Okay. All right. So I'm just gonna turn my camera off for the last my last one. Hopefully, but it's saying that the camera is on. I thought it was off.
I don't see you, so I think the camera is off.
Let's see. Okay, yeah. All right, so I don't know how bad I'm cutting into him, if he's cutting into me. Right now, it's still showing me that he's literally
Sound like a robot for me right now. I'm not talking.
talking about Black Christmas, so I don't know what's going on with my Wi-Fi. It was okay, and now it's bad. My number one is a 1980 film directed by William Lustig. And it is it is Maniac.